afternoon, one and all, from the second age of reason. Today we're going to talk about something that was in the news recently. It was the idea of mandatory voting in America. And why are we talking about this now? Because it seems as though it's just a misleading topic, because by and large it didn't address the main problem of who is an eligible voter for this mandatory voting. And as some have pointed out, you could do it by having a national holiday for mandatory voting, and that way people wouldn't have to ask special to take off of work or to come in late to work in order to participate in this mandatory voting. Maybe even having mandatory voting on the weekend. It doesn't happen every day or every Tuesday or every monthly Tuesday of the year. It only usually happens once or twice a year, if even. The president has said that mandatory voting would be transformative and it would cancel or counteract the effect of campaign money. To which I say, baloney, nonsense, hogwash. Money still buys access. Money still buys media. Money still buys people's mind share. So that doesn't wash true at all. The problems with voting is who is eligible to vote. Many states are putting in laws, and some are being upheld, for voter ID. And then who can have a voter ID? What is the qualifications? I mean, if somebody has a prison record, an arrest record, that is going to affect it. And sometimes the racial thing affects it. Laws that we used to take for granted are now being canceled. And part of it is from two major blocks. One block I call the Legion of Apathy. They simply don't care. They have no input. They say politics is irrelevant to their daily life, and they don't care. The Legion of Apathy. They don't vote. They could swing an election either way. If they were forced to vote, how would they vote? They would vote randomly. They would just pick a name on the ballot. They might say, well then, whoever gets their name in a more advantageous position on the ballot, whether it's a paper or a screen, would have an advantage there. But I think it's going to be mostly random if you get the Legion of Apathy and force them to vote. The other group are the people who vote against their own interests, either because their family has voted that way all their life, or because they believe lies, or they just think that that's the way it should be. It's the moral imperative to vote against your interests. Otherwise, you're just a selfish person. But they are selfish sort of in a way. This group who votes against their own self-interest, I call them the Legion of Morons. I'm not going to name any particular or who they vote for. But I think that is another factor. Part of it is our democracy was meant to be a participant democracy, meaning the voters have to get involved, have to do some homework, and have to learn about stuff. So then you wonder, why do people not vote? And some of them just do because they're lazy. They all say it has no impact in my life or whatever, and why should I bother spending that time to do it? It's just an effort you have to make. So I have 6 reasons here of why people might not vote. And one is because they think the candidates are all corrupt and liars. Number 2, the candidates don't represent my views or ideals. Number 3, the vote means nothing. The Electoral College or Supreme Court has the final say, so why bother? Number 4, the candidates only represent the big donors, people who give them money. Number 5, I want to vote third party, and everybody tells me I'm throwing my vote away. And that shouldn't be the case. Number 6, if I vote, then that's tacit approval no matter who wins. And I think that's the main impetus behind getting mandatory voting. Because they're worried that if only 20% of the people vote, that means they really don't like or believe in the system. If everybody comes out and we have a 90 or 100% turnout for vote, it means whatever the decision is, you're going to live by it, and you're agreeing to that system tacitly. So they're trying to say, like they would have in East Germany or North Korea, that we have a high participation in democracy. Now, my retort to that is that we already have a sort of mandatory voting. It's there. We can use it. By not voting, we are voting. We're voting no confidence. No confidence in the corrupt system. We're voting no confidence while corporations and political action committees are people. No confidence while money is free speech. No confidence because there is no pushback against military aggressions. No confidence because there's no pushback against unconstitutional mass surveillance. No confidence because no one's pushing for a higher minimum wage. No confidence because no one supports single-payer health care. They think that Obamacare does it all. I think Americans, by and large, see the voting booth as a Fisher-Price toy that gives a false impression that it'll make any difference at all. Mandatory voting, I'm going to say maybe we should just have it that you put the candidates' names down, but don't put down their parties. That way, people will have to do some homework to find out who the heck they're voting for and what it's about. But mandatory voting, like I said, if we don't vote sometimes, I think it's no confidence. As you can see on my badge here, it says I voted. And I have been voting for years. But sometimes I wonder also about, should I be voting, continuing to vote? For instance, when the year 2016 comes and we're up for a new president. Right now, I don't like the selection I see for Republicans or Democrats, and I'm leaning towards the third party, particular the Green Party at this point in time. But you'll have to do your homework to decide what party represents you and what you're going to do about it. Or will we all stay home in 2016 and give the government a show of no confidence that we're not going to vote because they haven't given us anything acceptable to vote for? So, until later, we'll be seeing you.